Hey, welcome back. All right, so today I wanted to show you how you can make some modern home decor for your home. We're going to be starting out with how to make this wood planter. It's You can stain it and keep that wood look when you're done. I did paint mine in the end because I do like a good black piece. But like I said, if you wanted to keep that natural wood look for this planter at the end, you could just stain it. But first, I'm going to start out making the box with these squares that I got from the Dollar Tree. So if you already have a box, you can use any box. You can use a paper box. I am making mine out of this little Dollar Tree wood planks, but you don't have to use a wood box to do this. But like I said, this is what I did have and what I'm using because I don't already have a box. And it's real simple. You can just see I'm just hot gluing along the edges and making the box shape. You don't have to use hot glue. You could use wood glue, and then that would give it like a little bit of extra security, but you will have to wait a while for it to dry. You're going to see here in a second that when I was doing this, I did end up with a little gap because the pieces are all shaped the same, so it didn't come out perfectly even. If I did adjust the way that they were laid out, I would have had to do some cutting at the end, and I didn't want to have to do the cutting at the end, so I did do it this way. But it all worked out in the end, and I think it really had a nice modern flair to it. All right, so quick question before I go on. I find out that I tend to get a lot of my supplies from the Dollar Tree. Do you tend to get a lot of your supplies for your DIYs or different things like that from the Dollar Tree? And I even feel like nowadays the Dollar Tree has pieces that you don't even have to do DIYs to. They're just super cute by themselves. But all right, back to what we're doing here. So you can see the gap here, and I'm gonna fill it in with these wood skewers also from the Dollar Tree. When you're doing this part, you don't want to use too much glue because you don't want the glue coming and poking out on the top. But it's real simple. You're just going to glue them together. If you're going to be making the box like I did for the planter, you're going to have that gap, and you're going to just glue them together in that little gap. It's not that big. As you can see, it fits about 2 skewers in there, and then from there you just go on and you'll just glue on top of the wood planks, putting the skewers on top of that, and then waiting for them to dry, and then going on to the next one. Again, not using too much glue. I was trying to glue together the top part because I realized it was gapping, and then I realized, wait a minute, you're going to be breaking those off, so you don't need to do that because you're not going to be going up that high. But again, I just kept going on and just bumping them up against one another so that they were nice and together with no gaps. And you can see, you don't even see what a little space was. You're going to do this on every side because you don't want to wait to the end because it's going to be harder to cut them. Once you're done, you're going to let that dry, and then you're going to cut along. Try to get it as even as possible because then you're going to have to come in, you're going to have to sand it at the end, and then like I said, I painted mine. You could use wood stain, but I decided to paint mine because I do like how the black came out. It's still wet right here, but I wanted to show you because it was getting late. I'm just taking these little tree stump pieces that I had from Walmart, like I got last Christmas, putting a little bit of glue, and I'm using them as legs. You don't have to do the leg part, but I thought the leg part was a cute little touch to it. Wait for everything to dry, and then I just put a little plant in it. You can fill that. I didn't fill it because it's going to be on a shelf, but I think it turned out super cute, super modern. So what do you think? Okay, so let's move on to the next one. This one is a canvas. I have this canvas. It is a black canvas. You don't have to use a black canvas. You can use any color canvas you want, but I already have this black one. We're going to be doing a reverse canvas here, and this is a good way to do modern art because, you know, modern art is like a lot of the abstract paintings and different things like that. So this is a great way. So let's get into how you can do an easy frame modern art piece. All right, for mine, I'm going to be taping it off around the edges. I'm going to be using 2 rows of tape. It doesn't have to be perfectly even because, like I said, it is an abstract piece, but I'm doing 2 rows of tape, and then I'm coming in a little bit. I'm not measuring it in any way because, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. And I did 2 rows on the inside there. I did make those a little even. I cut the edges so that it didn't, come out too much on the edge. But like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect because it's something that you're creating to be unique and different. All right, so once I was done taping it off, I came in with this gold metallic paint and I'm just dabbing it in because I don't want it to look like strokes. So I'm just, blotting it in. A sponge brush would be great right here. I did not have one because sometimes I don't clean my sponge brushes out and then, they get a little dry and stuff like that. So I'm fighting. A gnat had got in because I left the window open. But so we're just going to do around that, and then I came in with the white paint to do the centerpiece. Be careful because you can see the little crumbs from the paint when I opened it are all over the canvas now. So then I had to come back in and touch up that. And you're going to want to make sure you don't go over the tape pieces too. You can if you want. It depends on how you're doing your piece. You don't even have to tape it off. There's like so many different versions of this that you can do, because that's the beautiful thing about abstract artwork. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you do need to be careful because I did have paint all over my hands and paint everywhere. So I did get a few little spots on the pieces that I did not want the white paint, so I did have to come back in and touch that up later. So for that, you want to be careful. When you don't want the paint, you want to make sure you don't get the paint so that you don't have to come in and do the extra touch-ups later. All right, so I have a quick question for here. All right, this is how it looks once I was done with that. Would you had left it like that, or would you have went on with the extra steps like I did? Because I felt like it needed a little bit more, so then I went back in. But first, like I said, I went and touched up the pieces where the white had mixed on, and then I came back in with the white, and I said I wanted it to fill in that middle piece. I didn't want it to have the black there, but I used the same paintbrush that I used to fill in the black pieces that were messed up on the outside. So the paintbrush still had a little bit of black on it, which is what I wanted because I didn't want it to be so bright, so it's like a mixture. So you got to be careful not to use too much black if you're going to do that, because it will come out darker. But you can see it looks a little bit of gray now and muddled, and I just went around the border to make sure that I didn't bleed too much into the gold, and then I just filled it in, and you can see it's a different color than the white is there. And then I got a little artistic with it because I feel like I'm a modern artist, and I went into the white also and just kind of made it look how I wanted it to look. You can play around with it and do it whichever way you want. You can see when you come in with the white at first, it does look a little brighter, and I just kept patting till that black got in there some. And then I decided the gold was too bright also, so I used that same paintbrush again. I didn't wash it, and I came back in with the gold to tone that down some too, trying to be careful not to go out of the little lines that I created there with the tape, but just to mow it down. And then I decided I wanted to take it all the way down to the end at one side, so I did that too. So that's the beautiful part about art, like I said again. But then you're going to go to the reverse canvas part, you're going to flip it over, and you're going to take off the staples. If you're having a hard time with the staples, they're really flush, you can just cut around the edge and do it like that. So if you do whatever, just you want to get the canvas off of it and not too narrow. And then I went back in and I stapled it. You can hot glue it, but I did use a staple gun. I went all the way around, and then I cut off the excess in the back all the way around so that you don't see it from the front. And then that was it for it. So let me know what you think. Do you like it this way, the other way? Would you have did it totally different? Let me know. Okay, so for this next one, we're going to be making a stone style high-end vase. It's kind of a dupe for all the type vases that I see in the Italian stores. So I wanted to give it my own little flair. And I'm using these plastic bowls, again from the Dollar Tree. I'm doubling up on them because they are kind of thin. So I'm just putting two together, hot gluing them together. Not too much glue because, like I said, the bowls are thin. They will melt if the glue is too hot. So, you know, you work kind of quickly and you don't want to put too much because you don't want it to melt through the bowl. All right, once I was done with that, then I glued those two bowls, so it's 4 bowls all together, that I have, and I stacked them together. You could do a double stack. I've seen a lot of modern bowls, like modern vases that look like that. But I just did the one because the way my shelves are too, they're not that high. And I put a lot of these things on my shelves, so they can't be too tall. But once I was done with that and I dried, then I cut around the edges, kind of evened it out, and you'll have this like flying saucer type looking thing, which, you know, like I said, a lot of the pieces look like. So you'll have that piece, and then I just took this tube of cardboard that I have. You could use a vase, you could use other things, but I'm using this. It was too tall for me, like I said, so I cut it down in half. And then once you cut it down, if you're going to be using a cardboard tube, you just want to make sure it's nice and even. So I tried to even it out as best I could, and I kept, you know, playing around with it till it looked okay to me. And then, but even, you don't even have to really do that because, like I said, a lot of these modern pieces, they're not even. They have that whole abstract feel to them, but I just wanted it as even as possible. And then I just took some hot glue again and glued it on. I'm putting the hot glue on the cardboard because if you put it directly on the plastic, like I said, if it's too hot, it could melt through. So that gave it a little second to cool, and then you'll have that. And then again, to me, it still looks like a little flying saucer until I painted it. I'm going to be using the baking soda and acrylic paint method. You don't need a lot to do it. It's like when you do it, it seems like it like triples it or something. So I used way too much paint there, so I had a lot left over. But I'm doing that, and then I'm doing 2 times the baking soda because I want this to be really, really thick and look kind of like a plaster. So I'm mushing out all the lumps in it, and then I'm just coming in. You could do strokes, but like I said, I wanted like a plaster, so I'm dabbing it on, and it's really thick. I don't think it's picking up how thick it is, but it is really thick, and I wanted it thick too to go into the cracks around the edge of the, because I didn't want you to see where it, you know, all connected. So this is it. Let me know what you think. And if you did enjoy, please give it a big old thumbs up. And I can't wait to see you in the next one. Have a good day.